Hola, this is Valle, and I'm gonna show you the new transparent background feature in MetaShoot for Unreal Engine. So I'm gonna start from scratch, so I'm gonna create a new level here called 0, open it up, and as per usual, I'm gonna drag a studio into the scene, so we have a new photo studio. And for this demo, I'm gonna get rid of the sample. I'm gonna use a few models that I've downloaded from Megascans. So I have this crate here already prepared. I'm gonna just position it in the center of the scene and rotate it a bit. And I'm gonna prepare the camera for the shot. So selecting the camera and the target, I'm gonna move them down both to the to center the crate. And I'm gonna move the camera a bit further away so the composition kinda works a bit better. Making sure that the cyclorama covers the whole image. So I'm gonna pin down the camera here, and yeah, you can see that the background covers the whole render. And to make this showcase of the transparent background a bit more interesting, I've downloaded also a few plants from Megascans. So I'm gonna add them to the scene here. These are some ferns from Megascans that will add a bit more variety and more complexity to the render. So I'm just gonna position them randomly like this, and maybe one more here in the back, and let's do another one here at the front. I'm gonna move this just slightly forward so that it doesn't crop the other one. With this in place, let's say that this is our model. I'm gonna try another lighting setup. So I'm gonna go for this last one here, and I'm gonna increase the intensity of the light here at the top a bit, and the one on the left as well. So with this in place, we have the model, we have the lighting, and now I'm gonna select the camera here from the outliner, and I'm gonna come to the render tab, which, as you see here, has a new interface from previous versions of MetaShoot. We are on MetaShoot 2.2 here, and it has been adapted so it works with the same interface as Unreal Engine, so it feels a bit more familiar. So I want to thank Paul Booth here for the feedback about the UI and the UX. Has been very useful, so thanks for that. So I've redesigned this a bit to be more familiar for you. So same settings as we always had, but if we come down here to other options, we have now the shadow pass and the transparent background options. So I'm gonna explain shadow pass later when we are doing the post-production of the render, but I'm gonna enable it for now, and the transparent background as well. So as soon as I enable the transparent background, this message pops up, and it says, please make sure that enable alpha channel support in post-processing is set to linear color space only in the project settings. Also note that the transparent background only works with EXR format, which you get automatically when enabling this checkbox. So everything else gets cancelled and EXR is enabled. This is a heavy process for the graphics memory, so please adapt the quality according to your graphics card. This is quite important because the rendering stencil or like transparent backgrounds and stencil layers, which is what this is based on, is quite heavy computationally. So the graphics card will be working 2 or 3 times more than it usually would. So these will take longer, and if the quality is too high and your graphics card is not good enough, it might crash Unreal Engine. This is not related to MetaShoot, I'm afraid. This is just how Unreal Engine works, and yeah, you really need a powerful GPU to run these kind of renders in really high quality. Also, for more information on how to open this file, have a look at this video, which is this video that you are seeing here. And so back to the first setting, the first part of the message, please make sure that this is enabled. So you have to come to Edit, Project Settings, and you search for alpha, and this option will appear here. So enable alpha channel support in post-processing. By default, it will be set to disabled, so you need to change it to linear color space. Once you do this for the, once you do this for the first time, it will prompt you to restart Unreal Engine. So just click restart and it will open up again. It might need to recompile the shaders, but once it's done, you will be back to the scene. And then back to our render settings. For this one in particular, I'm just gonna leave it in medium quality to be a bit quicker, so we can showcase it just for this video. And I'm just gonna use the base render for this one, and I don't need the motion blur, and I'm fine with 1080p as the resolution. So I'm just gonna hit render. And the first thing you will notice when it starts rendering is that the background, it's already pure, like fully black. It doesn't have the cyclorama or the colors that you usually see in the background. So this means that the background is already being rendered in a different layer. You've seen this has been a pretty quick process. Again, it's just medium quality, so it doesn't have much need to render longer. So we're gonna edit this one in Photoshop, but first I need to explain that for post-processing of EXR files in Photoshop, you need to download this plugin or any other EXR plugin for Photoshop. I use this one because it's free and it works really well. You use so EXR.io. You just come to the web page, download it, install it following the normal installation, and that's it. You don't need to do anything else. So coming to Photoshop, I'm gonna go to the folder where this image with this render was saved, which is this, the latest one, and I'm just gonna drag it here. And as you can see, by dragging it, the EXR.io options appear. Use the default ones. You don't need to modify anything, so just open it. And we have here our render. And if we look at the layers, we see that there are 4 different layers. So I'm gonna go through them to explain what this is. The first one is the RGBA layer. This is the final render. This is the image that we would get if we don't use any transparent background or any other options. So we still have that image as an output, but we are gonna hide it for this one. The second layer is the shadow pass that we have enabled in the render settings, also called the detail lighting pass. And what this does is creates a sort of like a clay render, but where only the lighting is applied. So you have all the textures, but none of the colors or shaders. I'll get back to this one and I'll explain why this is useful later on. But if we hide it now, these 2 last layers are the same render that we had at the beginning, but it's already split into the foreground and the background. So this is fully automated in MetaShoot. You don't need to set anything up before. You don't need to do anything with the layers. It's already automatically created by MetaShoot. So for this one, we are going to hide the last layer, which is the background. And as you can see here, we have our model with a transparent background already. I'm gonna change the mode to 16 bits just because it's easier to work on it. And again, I can get this layer and you can see how this just moves as an independent object. So once you have this, you can already use any sort of like flat background or put an image in the background or anything, and this will have the transparency applied. If you zoom in, it does a pretty good job with the edges, like you don't see any halo or anything. Even with the leaves, you see that it does a really good job with the selection of what needs to be shown. But something that is quite clear is that this is sticking out for not having shadows on the ground. So something I like to do, and this is where the shadow pass comes in handy, is I'm gonna enable the shadow pass, and I'm gonna put the object on top of it. What I'm gonna do here is creating an alpha mask with the shadows that we need to maintain in our image. So to do that, I come down to our shadow pass, and I'm going to create an adjustments layer with vibrance and just lower down the saturation to -100. This is to make sure that we have a pure black and white image in the background. And now I'm gonna create a levels layer. The idea for this is to create a layer that has this sort of neutral background as a pure white image. So using levels, you can drag this handle, and as you drag it to the left, you see how the neutral tones get brighter and brighter. And if you hold Alt, you can see what actually becomes pure white and what stays in a middle range. So for this one, I just want to get something like this, where we have pure white in the sides. And if I release Alt, we can still see how it looks like now. So enabling and disabling the layer, you see the difference. And now to finish selecting or like isolating the shadows, what I do is creating a new layer and just grabbing a soft brush with a pure white color, and I'm gonna paint on top of it just the background and what I don't want to be showing as a shadow. And I might even come a bit down here as well, so we don't get any artifacts or like any harsh shadows in the borders. So here you see already an image that has our model with the shadows and a flat background, but this is not transparent at the moment. So in order to do that, I'm gonna hide the main object, and I'm just gonna show here the shadows that we have, and I'm gonna create a new layer in which I'm gonna go to image and apply image. What this does is creates a new layer with everything baked into that layer. With this, I'm gonna select all, so Control A, Control C, select all, copy, and I'm gonna come here to channels. I'm gonna create a new alpha layer, and I'm gonna Control V to paste what we just did before, and I'm gonna invert this alpha channel with Control I. As you can see here, now we have an alpha mask that has the shadows selected, let's say. So if we hold Control and we come to our alpha layer and click it, we make a selection out of that layer. So now we can come back to our layers, normal layers tab, and I'm gonna create a new layer here, and I'm gonna hide. Well, I can just create a new layer, and I can. I'm gonna create a clipping mask out of it with this selection. So just by clicking this button, we have this alpha mask applied. I'm gonna hide now everything that we have created before. I'm gonna leave only the background that we were talking about and the main object. And I'm gonna put the main object on top of everything. So now, in this layer where we have made the alpha mask with the shadow, I'm just gonna use the bucket and a pure black color to fill the layer of it. And as you can see now, we have already, and if I hide the object, we can see what we have done here. It's creating a layer with a transparent shadow. So if I create a new background with another color, let's say, something like this, you can see that the shadows are still transparent. Like you can even move the background and everything just stays there. So all the transparency is applied to the full image. You can even hide both backgrounds here and potentially save this as a PNG with a transparent background and still preserving the shadows, as you see. So this is my usual workflow to create transparent backgrounds and keep the shadows in it. It has become way easier now with MetaShoot. You don't need to set up anything originally. Everything is already automatically set up in the render settings here. So again, other options, transparent background, and everything is done automatically for you. The only thing you need to do manually at this point, and I hope I can automate that in the future, is the shadow alpha side of things. But I hope this video helps you to do it quicker. And please let me know if you have any other questions or if you need anything else. So thanks so much for seeing it and for using MetaShoot. And let me know if you need anything. Cheers. Bye.